What to eat to get in the best shape of your life. This will be our Nutrition 101 lecture, which is going to build on our first lecture, which was understanding your current body composition. This is going to synthesize everything that you need to know about nutrition into a formatted guide that's just easy to understand, digest, and put practically into your life. Because I'm sure you know the science is out there. The science is nice, but honestly, we want to know, what does this mean for us in real terms? Now, if you're new to the group, welcome. If you've not met me before or watched any of the videos, my name is Tom Sergi. I'm an ex-British paratrooper and I run the Guerrilla Platoon, which is a physique transformation program. And the reason that I'll probably introduce myself in each video is just because you deserve to know why you should invest your time and listen to me and show that I can walk the walk, i.e. this photo, and also a little bit about me and my background and why I have credibility in this area. So let's roll in. My promise to you in this video is, by the end of it, you'll know what and how to eat to get in the best shape of your life. Now, you may be thinking, what do you mean how? Like, you just eat the food, there's no how about it. But actually, I think that most of us have a an understanding of what you should eat. But if we were to get every ex or serving member of the military, stick them all in a big arena, to get them to take their tops off, I think the how is the main issue. I think the how is the practical application, and the evidence would be there in front of us that the what is not being applied live. So we will cover both in this video. We have points that will really nail in the how to do it, and then we will also have the points that also give you the what as well. So the process we're going to go through in this video is understanding people's main constraint to eating and getting in shape. And I think it's important we address that first, because like with everything, the information is out there. The knowledge is out there, but the knowledge will fall on deaf ears if the right open mind is not ready to receive it. We'll understand how we got out of shape in the first place. Out of shape is a very broad term. I'm not saying everyone listening to this is out of shape. And throughout this video, I never want to sound condescending. I just use certain phrases to make a point, just so we're clear on that. And then, obviously, we're going to understand how to use proteins, fats, and carbs to work for you as a strong weapon rather than against you. We're then going to work out how to stay on track. So again, more of the hows, and then I'll bring it all together with a live example. So let's roll in. First of all, everyday people's reason for poor nutrition. Now, we can remember many times in the military, in fact, where some non-airborne forces member came up to you and said, I was going to do P Company, but... And just before he started going, you've switched off at that point and you thought, shut the fuck up, pussy. You didn't do it because either A, you weren't fit enough, B, you didn't want to put your ego on the line because you'd served for too long, or C, you just like the idea of it and just want to make a friend with me, so that's why you're saying it. And already, by that point, you had switched off. Take that phrase now, the same will go for why people are not in shape. If people are not in shape, they will come to me and they will say, I can't eat right, or I can't get in shape because my wife cooks my dinners. I can't eat right, I can't get in shape because I work nights or I work long hours, or I can't eat right or get in shape because I had to take the kids out for this, that and the other. Now, you can't use your family members as weapons as to why you can't be in shape. You are, without doubt, wherever you are in life, due to pretty much our own doing, for good or bad. You've done many, many good things throughout your life, and that is down to you. But on the flip side, if you're out of shape at the minute, then ultimately it's our fault. Now, I'm not trying to sound like an arsehole here. I'm actually trying to give you something that's quite liberating, because the moment we accept this, the moment we just take extreme ownership for every aspect of our life, it's very, very liberating, because you're like, I can literally control everything. And there's nothing worse than being out of power, out of control in the way we do things. So I don't say this to be an arsehole. I say this to give you the power and for you to think, yeah, like literally, it's okay if my wife makes my dinner. I just explain to her, this is what we're going to eat as a family, and we can cook these foods, and this is how much of it. And actually, she might like it because I need specific amounts of foods and types, and all she has to do is really cook it together, and that takes some stress off her, so then she's a little bit happier. And actually, it all goes into a nice thing. So whenever I say this, I don't mean to be an arsehole. I say it to give you the autonomy to really make a change in your life, because if you don't open your mind to that, if you tell yourself you can't do something because of an external source, you will never do it. And it will, and let's be honest, it will hurt you inside to never be able to do it, because you would want to do the thing, hence why you're investing a little bit of time into understanding it. So the moment you just take extreme ownership for it and decide, I will make things happen, I will change them for me, then everything changes, because you will frame your mind in a way that, cool, you have to work nights, not a problem. Prep these meals, take them with me, bang, 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 solution to every problem. Oh, I had to eat, like I used to have clients in Dubai, they'd be like, oh, well, I've got to eat out, I've got to take this client out for dinner, because they were like big dick, busy professionals, whatever. And I'd be like, no problem, send me the menu. They'd be like, what? Yeah, send me the menu. Okay, cool. Eat this, move this from this meal, move this from this meal, there you go. Solution, problem, sorted. Like, and there is a solution to every issue, but if you're not open-minded enough to do it, then we will never see progress. And like we said, the information's out there, but if you can't be applied into your life, it's literally, it may as well not be out there for you. So that is the main reason people's everyday nutrition is relatively poor. Now let's also understand, how did we get out of shape in the first place? Well, let's say, for example, you were in shape and then you start to get out of shape. Honestly, it's because your self-image just thought it was okay. Like, the reason people get out of shape and stay there is because, honestly, they're okay with it. I've spoke about in many videos the analogy of a hot coal rock line. I think I spoke about in the initial lecture to you guys. And essentially, your hot coal rock line is your base standard of where you will not go below it because it's hot and uncomfortable. You will get it back up to that line. Honestly, the most people are just out of shape is because they're honestly okay with it. Because if they weren't, they would move heaven and earth to make sure they got back to that point. You will have that for all aspects of your life. Cleanliness, income, friends you hang around with, actually physique. Like, you will have a hot coal rock line for everything. If it goes below a base standard, you will get it back there as fast as humanly possible because it'll be uncomfortable and painful. But honestly, people get out of shape because they're just okay with it. And that shouldn't really be a thing. You should always have the highest of standards for yourself, because, like, if you only get to live this life once, you may as well enjoy it the best you possibly can. Now, life is actually set up in the way for you to be out of shape. Now, it really is. Like, at the click of your fingers, you can get the nicest, the most palatable, the most calorific foods delivered to your door with zero effort. Obviously, years ago, we would have had to go and hunt for hours on end to get any form of food. We would have burnt a fuck ton of calories just to even get the food. Now, you burn 0 calories, click a few buttons, and it's delivered exactly to your door. Second to that, like, trying to quit sugar is very, very hard. Like, sugar is a very, very addictive drug. Research on rats has found that sugar is more addictive than certain drugs, such as cocaine. I just typed that in, by the way. I've heard of this study before. I just typed it in and wanted to see if it actually came up. So just know that if you're trying to come off sugar, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And we could go into a deep debate on why they put sugar into the world and why it's in everything and what they're trying to do with us, but we won't go down the conspiracy theory. Just know that I understand it's hard and life is set up in the way for you to be out of shape. That's why for people that are in shape, it's actually quite impressive because they've managed to, like, palm everything off and just go their own separate way. And the last reason is, for our longest time in the military, it was not our first priority. Think about it, like, we would eat from the cookhouse and we would get paid a certain amount and we'd be thinking, well, how can I make that last the longest, maybe save some, maybe holiday coming up. So you'd go and get the cheapest meal. And that I used to do it, and I don't blame anyone else for doing it because it makes sense, save more money for later. I love saving money. The problem with that is the cheapest meal is obviously not going to be the best quality of meal. It's not going to even be some of it like proper food. Like, you're eating like fried bread. Like, fuck me, that's you know for a fact that's not good to put inside your system. Also, so where we're confined to eating from the cookhouse, we would just eat in there, but then our main priority was work, it was social, it was staying fit, it was being good at our job, it was getting along with our peers. It was not studying nutrition, because those that then did study nutrition and didn't eat in the cookhouse, obviously you miss out on that social aspect in that given minute. It's actually quite nice to, like, do some hard PT, come in the cookhouse, you all sit and eat and chat and just have good bonding time. So it was honestly just not set up in that way. And then second to that, how many guys did you know that had a piss tank but could HC 2-milers? I know plenty. So honestly, like, good nutrition didn't hold as much weight when we were serving, and you could kind of look out of shape, kind of be not so healthy, but still be a fit machine. The two actually didn't correlate. Like, I know, as I said, I know many guys that had a piss tank and were still fit, robust paratroopers. But now we're not doing paratrooper fitness, and we never had the right nutrition in the first place. No wonder it's very hard to even get into shape, or let alone get out of the place of being out of shape to begin with. So that's the main reason behind why this lecture needs to be delivered. Now what we want to do is work out how to use macronutrients as a weapon for you. So we're going to go through the 3 of them that you will have probably heard of and understand the main things that you need to know about them, and then we'll go into like live case studies after that. So, protein. The most important macronutrient out of all of them, the one that you should prioritize the most. This comes before anything. You make your diet plan up off this macronutrient first, the other 2 come after. Now, how much do you need is the first and the main question. Now, remember from our last guide in the calorie calculator, it worked out your lean mass, which is relative to your scale weight minus your body fat percentage. That lean mass then gave you your protein target, and the protein target was the lean mass times by 2.4. That gives you enough protein to repair from sessions to continue to grow and build tissue. As another rule of thumb, now this doesn't always work, depends on how fat you are, but honestly, 1 gram per pound of body weight generally is a good amount for people. And when you first see those numbers, I actually think people are like, fuck me, that's a lot of protein. But honestly, it's really not. It's really not that much, and it's sad that our diets are made up of like a smidget of protein, and the majority of it's coming from carbohydrates. Because honestly, this is why we're not performing to the highest of levels. People will come to me and say, but it costs a lot. And I would say, yeah, it might cost a lot for... In fact, it doesn't. Like, let's be honest, we can get eggs on the cheap. Chicken is not that dear. Maybe some steaks are a bit dear. But honestly, what would it cost you to be operating at 30% less productivity? Bearing in mind, the majority of you watch this are not in the military now. You run your own separate work, so your income can be a lot bigger than what it was in the military. What would 30% more productivity bring for you? It would well outpay the food bill that you've now increased to because you're eating better quality food products. So the ROI on it is significantly higher. And let's be honest, like, you only get 1 body to put fuel in. Like, even if you've got a car, let's say you've got 3 portions of fuel. You've got the fancy unleaded diesel, normal diesel, and let's say you've got like pond scum diesel. It's half the price, it's real cheap. But you know, over the long term, it basically, it does to your car what tap water does to your kettles. Ever sit inside a kettle? It's fucking just full of lime scale. It does that to your car. You know it's going to fuck it, but it's real cheap. Like, I honestly think you would begrudge putting that in your car. And it's the same goes for food. If you continue to just put shit inside your body, like, what do you think it's going to do over the long term? And you're just going to get health problems off the back of it. Now, obviously, if you're from the UK, cool, we got the NHS. But like, do you really want to have to go through the aggro of health issues and trying to fix something that, honestly, if you just spent a little bit more on food and diet in the beginning, you wouldn't need to do that. And your productivity would be up here. So then you would actually make more money anyway. So like, it's a hard concept initially. You have to almost like let go and be like okay with spending more and like just investing into yourself. But people think investing into themselves is like stupid or gay, but honestly just like take it with an open mind and a pinch of salt. Now, myths about meat, where people say red meat gives you cancer. If you could go and meet your father's 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 father, what were they eating? Bearing in mind they had to go and hunt for their food, what were they eating? They were eating fucking red meat. In fact, red meat's one of the only things we know has been around for the longest of time. It's probably one of the safest foods we can bet on. This modern day processed crap that we get, we can't know for sure that that's not full of fucking chemicals and additives. In fact, it probably is. So when people have these myths about like, oh, too much meat's bad for you, like, honestly, meat is the only thing we've been eating for the longest amount of time. And I think people really forget that. Same with the cholesterol in eggs. People are like, oh, eggs, cholesterol, bad. No. The eggs, the cholesterol in the eggs is the good cholesterol. It's not the LDL, it's the HDL. And in fact, the cholesterol in eggs is one of the precursors for building testosterone. Honestly, like, more eggs will give you, honestly, a stiffer one in the morning. Like, trust me when I say this, and I won't go into the depths of that in this video, but that is honestly it. Now, let's just look at how to break down a day of feeding for protein. So we're going to use a case study for this. So let's say you are 88 kilos, 23% body fat. You want to get down to lean, 8 to 10% body fat, ready for a holiday or just to generally look like an athlete. So you're going to need to come down to 73 kg, and that could take you pretty much 16 weeks. You're looking to drop 15 kilo, that can be done in 16 weeks. You've got the average level of activity. We know your maintenance is sat at 2842. We want to put you in a fairly good deficit, so we're going to come down to 2165, and our protein target is going to be 163. Realistically, what you're looking for there is to break that down within at least 4 to 5 sittings of protein. So you may be thinking, what and how much of something should I have to do that? And you're going to come over to this here. You're looking to have at least 40 grams of protein within a given meal. And honestly, I want you to have the mindset that you're going to be having 40 grams of protein in each meal, every meal, for the rest of your life, pretty much. And that way you'll always hit your protein target. And these are some solid options you can have. Now, just to be aware, when it comes to protein, you have got leaner options, you have got fattier options. Both carry very good weight, just used at the right times. Generally speaking, in the morning, you want to have fattier options. Unless you train in the morning, then it will not serve you to have fatty options. Now, fattier options do cost more calories. So if you are dieting down, they're not always the best thing to use, or just have them once per day. But just know the volume size of that individual food will be a lot smaller than if you had the leaner option, because the leaner option isn't coming with fat. Fat is not bad. It's not bad that it has fat. It just understand it in context. So realistically, if you wanted lean options, I'd be sticking to tuna, turkey, chicken, egg whites, obviously, white fish, 100%. If you need fattier options, you're looking for whole eggs, smoked salmon, minced beef, salmon fillet as well. Yogurt and obviously protein powders are zero fat within them. Well, depends on, obviously, 0% fat obviously is. But where I'd be looking at protein powders and yogurts. So if you like oats in the morning, then what you can have is protein with it to make it a protein-rich meal. Same with if you have yogurt in the evenings, like a dessert style, you can then put protein in that, and that will bolster the overall consumption of protein and break that up. Just know that you want it majority coming from animal sources because they contain all of the 9 essential branched chain amino acids, whereas things like yogurt may not have all of them. But if you eat a balance across here, you're going to be okay. So this is the proteins I'd be looking to break down. Obviously, for 40 grams, you've got the what type of food, the quantity of that in raw and uncut weights, and then how many calories that's going to come across to. Likewise, we've got it in 30 grams and also 20 grams as well. And that's how I'd be piecing together my day of protein. So you have your overall protein target, 163, and you're going to go down to here and break up what foods you like, separate into the amount of meals that you're going to eat within a given day. No more than 50 grams in one sitting if you can help it, but just remember, order of magnitude is hit the target first and foremost. If you have to have 80 grams in one sitting to hit the target, it's better than missing the target. People say you can only digest a certain amount in one sitting. That's partly true, but honestly, just hit the target first and foremost, and then look to break it up as evenly as you can across the meals within the day. And if you do that, you will be sound when it comes to protein. So the next thing we want to look at is fats. So the first thing to think of is how much fats should I be eating within a given day? And you're looking at around about 20% of the overall target. This can be brought down a little bit lower when you're in the back end of a dieting phase to move calories around, and it can be brought up a little bit higher if you're in a gaining phase and actually just need to up a little bit more overall nutritional input, so you can up it through a little bit more fat, and it'll be very easy to get the overall calories in. So you're looking at 20% of the total target. So in this instance, this guy would need 50 grams of fat. Now, when it comes to fats, we need to be smart about when we eat these, because fats are very slow digesting. Now, that is both good and bad. It's bad if you're going to have it just before a workout because you want that energy in there and then to use it and have it as active. But if you're not going to be training for a fair few hours, you would want it slow digesting because it will keep you essentially fuller for longer. And this is why if you're not training in the morning, you want high fat, high protein, because you will not spike blood sugar levels, so you can stay sharp as a dart when you're working, and also it will digest a lot slower, so it makes sense to have that then. So have your steak, have your eggs. That's why it's like a common thing to have in the morning, because it's high fat and it's high protein. It doesn't spike blood sugar, so you can stay sharp, you can work, and you won't have any carb crashes, and also it will keep you fuller for longer. So that's something I would consider when it comes to fats. Some choices you've got, obviously you've got your oils, but the downside of oils, very good when you're in a surplus and need to get the calories in. When you're in a dieting phase, I honestly wouldn't really have oils just because the volume of it is so small. Obviously that's the case for fats in general. They are the smallest of volume food and the most amount of calories because there's 9 calories in 1 gram. Dark chocolate, good to put with sweeter meals. Peanut butter, good to put with morning oats. Same with your butters and then pistachios. You've also got avocado that could go with chicken meals. And I would keep fats. Just find what doesn't make you so sluggish and then separate them obviously away from workouts is going to be the main thing you want to look for. So how much? 20% of the overall target. What types? Honestly, again, saturated fat, very, very good for the increase of testosterone. So what you want to stay away from is trans fats. Trans fats are processed foods, basically. Any like cakes, pastries, sweets, chocolate, pizzas, any crap, stay away from that. Honestly, everything else you'll be relatively okay with. When just away from workouts, ideally in the morning. Now, the last thing we're going to want to fill the day with is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your fuel and your building blocks for performance in the gym. When you're doing a body recomposition and trying to get results like this, your training stimulus is sacred. You want to uphold that for the longest period of time, because if you don't train hard and you diet down, you're just going to become a smaller, still softer version of you. The art is to pull off the body fat and build the muscle. So carbohydrates are going to allow you to drive performance in the gym. So what we want to do is be smart when and how we use carbohydrates. Now, you may have heard of GI. This is glycemic index, and there's a scale for all carbohydrates relative to the GI scale. Now, understanding of the GI will then determine what carbs to have and when. So, for example, if something is lower on the GI scale, it is not like fats, but it is a lot slower to digest. When could this be useful? Further away from workouts. With higher GI, you want those closer towards the session because you want to have them quickly and use them quickly. You've seen energy gels or like bananas, like they have them before workouts or just after to get that get those carbs in. Obviously, carbs go straight into either the bloodstream, stored in the form of glucose, or into the muscle, stored as muscle glycogen. Now, carbs can make you sleepy. How do you get around this? If you have a big sitting of carbs, oats, pasta, rice, bread, your best bet is to go and walk it off as soon as possible. So if you need to get a certain amount of carbs in, but you're working at a desk kind of like I am, you need your brain to be sharp. I found push the carbs back further into the day. Let's be honest, if you're dieting, you've got 270 carbs to fill in. It's not really that much anyway, but I would push them as far back into the day as possible. Keep your brain sharp, have high protein, high fat to begin with, which will obviously tick those off, and then I would push carbs back. If you still need to work with into the afternoon, I'd have the carbs and I'd go out for a walk. I found that to be one of the best things to not carb crash off the back of them, because they are important to get in, but you don't want to hate towards them because they make you sleepy. Now, keep them high because you want to keep performance high, and this needs to be said enough. When you are dieting down, you want your carbs to stay as high as humanly possible. People think, just keep cutting carbs and I'll lose weight. And it's like cutting calories, overall nutritional intake will help you lose weight, not just cutting out carbs. Remember, carbs are the driving factor for your gym floor performance. So you should, if you need to pull from carbs, pull them from the furthest points away from the workout first. Remove. And then you want to keep them around the workout as high as humanly possible. If you do end up on quite low end carbs towards the back end of the dieting phase, the ones around the workout are sacred and you do not touch them at all costs because they are going to allow you to train still hard with a good performance. If training performance dips, you're going to run the risk of losing like tissue. So sometimes even towards the back end, protein versus carbs, it ends up swinging in the balance. Like, well, what is actually worth more? Well, the training stimulus is the most sacred point. That's what's going to help you retain tissue more than the protein amount. Would it serve me to have a little bit more energy to uphold those numbers? Probably. So then actually dropping protein ever so slightly to give a little bit more from carbs would actually serve you in that way. Now let's look at what carb types you can eat. Now, when it comes to carbohydrates, some will digest well for you and others just won't. So the best bet is to find out what you find sits very well for you on your stomach. Something like oats is very good to have in the morning away from workouts. Can be quite stodgy, but that's good when you are into a diet phase. You do get quite hungry because it's literally like trying to chew through cement. It expands with water and it will keep you fuller for longer. Things like white potato and sometimes rice, very nicely digesting, sit well on the stomach, can be had a little bit closer towards the workouts because, again, higher on the GI scale, but less fibrous, whereas the oats more fibrous. Then as you move into things like breads, bagels, and then your cereal stuff. So you don't want to be having these first thing in the morning as your main breakfast because you will eat them, they will be in the bloodstream ASAP Rocky, and then you'll have burnt them off and you'll be starving by 10 o'clock. So don't be having cereals for fucking breakfast because it's not going to do you any good. It would do you a world of good if you're going to have the cereal and work out like instantly. Fine, you have my blessing. Or even straight after the workout, a bit of cereal, not bad. Glycogen straight back in the muscle. But don't have those as your main driving factor of carbs to fill you up. You want things that are fibrous, stodgier, take longer to digest. But just before workouts, you have my blessing. Now, we can also see that fruits they also come under carbs, technically so do veg, but these are fibrous and very, very low calorie. So these can also be used to pack out the diet and give like plenty of micronutrients with that as well. Fruit, great weapon to use just before workouts or just after as well. And veg, very good for packing out meals before and probably away from the workouts. If you had like big amounts of veg, what it's going to do is add a lot of volume to the diet, and if it adds volume, it's going to keep you fuller for longer at a very low cost in calories. So when you're piecing together your diet, don't pick things that are small in volume but dense in calories because you will just wax through them and still be hungry. If you're eating something that is big on the plate, it's going to give you the perception that you're actually eating more food, and it will just help with adherence over the longer term. So that's how I would use each of the macronutrients. The next thing we need to look at is how to actually take that information and stay on track. So life will always try and fuck you, and you've got to be prepared for that. And coming from the military, I think that actually makes sense, and you've prepared for a lot of things so that you don't fail. So the main thing to do with this is just prep your meals in advance. And it might sound boring. You might think, I've got to prep my meals, like, meal planning and like gym bodybuilding stuff. It's not about that. It's not like, just turn that off. Like, don't think about that. What it's about is you've got a busy day at work. There will be things that's going to come up. Just take your meals with you so that there's no excuses. There's no, this happened and I had to come off plan, because you're just going to slow down progress, lose momentum, and then just like it's going to go to a ball of chalk. Whereas if you've got the meals with you, you've got the solution to the issue, it's not going to be a problem. You're going to continue with the momentum, making progress, giving that positive feedback loop, and you're going to continue doing this until you get to the goal. How to eat out. In the event that you do need to eat out, we'll look at this now, and we'll also look at how could you stay on plan when you need to go on a course and live out of like a hotel. So we'll cover those now. So, how to eat out. If you need to eat out, if you just couldn't say no, if it socially it makes sense that you must eat out, then fair enough. This is what we're going to do. Now, ideally, you will have looked ahead at the menu and thought, right, this is where we're going to go. These are my options that I can eat. And when you're doing this, this is what you want to look at. So if it's a breakfast you need to have, stay away from fried eggs, go for poached. Also add in egg white omelets with veggies as opposed to like whole egg omelets. Stay away from fruit juices, obviously. Stay away from lattes, just stick to black coffee. Greek yogurt, 0% fat's okay, and only have fruit on your training days. Most likely it's going to be an evening meal or a lunch meal out. So as a rule of thumb, stay away from fried chicken or fish, stay away from burgers or red meats, and salmon and mackerel, just fattier. So not that, again, fat is not bad, but it's going to cost more calories to eat that. Now, on top of that, they've made it so it's palatable and it's nice and that you keep coming back. It's not made with your diet in mind. It's just going to cost more calories, so just eliminate that by picking a leaner sauce. Stay away from creamy sauces and creamy soups and burgers or wraps, which are in there twice. Fries and sweet potato fries, stay away from those. Instead, go for chicken that is baked or grilled, white fish or seafood, veggies, but make sure they're not cooked in oil or butter, If you want soups, go for more of like home, your homemade style soup. It's quite like a almost brothy style, quite thin. You can almost see through it. That's the style of soup you want to be having. Ask for like lettuce wraps instead of normal wraps. Tell them to put the sauces on the sides and have baked or sweet potato. And that's the best form of damage limitation you can do with this. Dessert and alcohol, kind of a non-negotiable. Don't do it in the event you really, really have to, which with alcohol, probably more than a dessert. Stick to 0-calorie mixers that are going to go with gins, vodka, or even tequila. Normally one shot of those is around about 97 calories, so you're just going to have to work out the numbers. How many can I have and still stay on plan? In the event you have to have a dessert, because socially it's just, I don't know, whatever the event is, have fruit or just have that nice coffee then that you can kind of work out the calorie amount. Like a latte is going to be a lot more than fucking chocolate cake. So that is what I'd eat if I was eating out. But what I would also do is look at the menu, pick it, and I would then offset that within my day of eating, still hitting my protein target, but pulling from the carbs and the fats. Now, the next thing to look at is how do we eat when we're living out of a hotel? Because this will happen to you. You'll go on a course, you'll need to be out of your comfort zone, you'll think, well, how can I stay on plan? This example is for someone that is on 2,300 calories, 172 protein, 46 fat, and 260 carbs. His usual meal plan looks something like this. So oats, peanut butter, protein, berries. Meal 2, chicken, veg, pre-workout oats, jam, almond milk, chicken breast, veg, pasta, evening meal, and then a yogurt-y dark chocolate meal for the end. So what we want to do is then replicate that. So with the oats, the protein, peanut butter, and the berries, you could actually make this in a hotel. You just take your ingredients with you, maybe ditch the berries, add it with hot water, and you're still good to go with that. So that's not going to be an issue. However, uncooked chicken breast and veg is going to be an issue. So what you can do is go to, I've put Sainsbury's here, but any supermarket will sell you cooked chicken. Obviously, the amount will be different cooked to uncooked, so just do the calculation on MyFitnessPal to give you the calorie amount. And then just get this bag of mixed veg that's obviously you don't need to cook it. Bolster this together with some hot sauce, and you're good to go. You've literally replicated that meal. Pre-workout, you're not going to have oats and jam again, or you could do, but you can just get something like a cereal bar, and that's good to go. Post-workout shake. These are not the best. Hopefully you can find better ones in your local supermarket. This is just the most common one I've seen in supermarkets across the UK. Match it with the calories and it's going to have a certain amount of protein. So you get that in. Then your evening meal, what you're going to do is take the rice as cooked rice. If you were having carbs with this meal rice anyway, then you're going to split the rice down into two. And instead of having pasta, we just had rice again. If you're no carb in it, then obviously back to chicken, the veg and the hot sauce to give it some flavour. And then for yogurt in the evening, just you can get like whole yogurt, protein yogurts, and that'll capture that there. So the point is here, you want foods that are already cooked. Ideally got a microwave. If you haven't got a microwave, then you're hard routine in it, having the cold food. But the point of this is, there's a solution to the issue where you're out of your comfort zone, you can't cook. Can you still stay on plan? You can. We just need to know what can we go and eat for that. So you may have heard the term fasting or intermittent fasting, and people think intermittent fasting helps them lose weight. Now, yes and no. Intermittent fasting alone does not help you lose weight. Obviously, the negative energy deficit helps you lose weight. However, intermittent fasting is quite a good weapon to assist with that. They kind of go hand in hand, because if your feeding window is shorter, you've just got less time to fucking overindulge and overeat on food. However, can you overeat on food in that window? Of course you can. You can go to Mackey's and toast off all your calories within a couple of meals. Not a problem at all. But what it does is just give you a smaller time for feeding. Therefore, the fact that you don't break the fast as early into the day means it just becomes easier to stay adherent. Like if you eat first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. and you've only got a certain amount of calories for the day, it's going to be a long old day, because you're going to get hungry 3-4 hours later and it's only 10. Whereas if you push that meal back as far as possible, you hydrated like fuck, you had black coffee, and then you broke the fast at around 12, it's going to just make adherence a lot easier, providing you're someone that gets hungrier later at night. So that is what I'd be doing to stay on track. Remember, there's a solution to every issue, and as long as you take extreme ownership for it, you're an innovative individual. You will come up with solutions as to why you can still stay on plan and not just palm it off and be like, well, it's not my fault, so I couldn't stay on plan, because let's be honest, we always can. Looking at the live example, which is the one that we've been using throughout this video, started at 88, want to get from 23% down to 8 to 10%, which is going to take 16 weeks. 73 kilos is going to be the aim. Lean mass is sat here. Why is that important? For the overall protein target we're going to hit. RMR is this, never go below that number. You're going to times it by your activity, which is probably going to be around the average because we're training, but maybe we're not as active as we were in the military, but not completely desk-bound all the time with zero activity. A fair deficit to start with, and this is going to be your overall macros. Off the back of these macros, you're going to go here and piece together your diet relative to what protein sources you like and also thinking about lean versus fatty options. You're then going to come across to your fats and then put those into your diet, again, away from workout slow because they're slow digesting, and then look at what carbs you're going to have, and again, be smart about those around the workouts and how much of them to have. The last thing I'll say for adherence is in the event you just don't have scales because you had to eat somewhere random and quickly, the next best thing you can do is use hand portions. So for protein, 40 grams is 2 palms. So for most of your meals, you're going to need 2 palm sizes of literal protein. For carbs, if you're needing up to 50 grams in a meal, you're going to get 2 cup sizes. For the fibrous fruit and veg, it's the size of your fist. And for fats, you're looking at thumb sizes. So that is the guide on nutrition. I hope you found it useful. I hope it opened your mind from the perspective of we can control everything. We just have to actively make that choice. And that nutrition shouldn't really be too hard. Hopefully I've simplified it in quite an easy manner to understand. And then just one last quick look at a meal plan. So for this guy, this would be an average meal plan we could set out for him. High fat, high protein in the morning, 4 eggs, nice. Meal 2, 100 grams rice, 165 uncooked chicken, and the vegetables, lace it with some hot sauce. I know people give chicken, rice and veg a bad rap, but actually there's a reason it's been around for so long. Like, rice digests very, very well. Chicken breast, honestly, is like, you can eat it every day and it's just not an issue. So there's a reason why it's been around for so long. Jam and a bagel. Bagel will digest quite quickly, so will the jam. Have that before the workout. A shake of almond milk after. Into the evening meal, you could swap this out for tuna, whitefish or turkey, but generally speaking, do you want to have to buy like 2 separate styles of meats at the supermarket, or do you just want to buy one set and just make your shop a lot smoother and simpler? Switching up the carb source for pasta, then with some sauce, but being mindful of the amount you're having and the calories it's coming across to. Again, packing it out with vegetables, you can get plenty of micronutrients through the veg and also through some berries. Finishing with something sweet, dark chocolate and low-fat yogurt. And that is what I would eat for this guy within a normal day of actual eating, gram for gram, amount, food, example, and meal plan. So I hope you found this video useful, boys. If you did, just drop me a message on the WhatsApp that you found it useful, or if there's anything you don't understand and want me to explain further, or shoot me a message personally or on the group. I look forward to hearing from you.